What would you do if the person you loved most betrayed you in the cruelest way imaginable at your most vulnerable moment? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to reclaim your life and find strength in the face of unimaginable hurt. Opening scene, a hospital delivery room. Soft, warm lighting. We see Ava, 24, looking tired but radiant, holding a newborn. Her face is etched with love and exhaustion. Narrator, giving birth to my daughter. My beautiful little Clara. Should have been the happiest moment of my life. She was just 6 months old when this all unfolded, and I was still basking in the glow of new motherhood, but that glow was about to be violently extinguished. Jim, 26, enters the room. His face is grim, a stark contrast to Ava's joy. He looks at the baby, then back at Ava, his eyes narrowed. Narrator, the moment Clara was born, with her beautiful, dark skin, it was clear she could have 2 biological parents of African descent. My husband, Liam, instantly transformed, his face contorted with rage, and he exploded, accusing me of cheating. He just left. Right then and there, Ava's face falls. Her eyes well up as Liam turns his back and walks out, leaving her alone with their newborn. Narrator, it wasn't just a private outburst. Liam, in his fury, broadcast his accusations to everyone, both our families, friends, even making public posts on social media. He wanted a divorce. The phone calls started almost immediately. His family and many of our friends, all of them, called to express their outrage, hurling the most vile names at me. My mother, bless her heart, stayed by my side through it all as I desperately proclaimed my innocence. Scene shifts to Ava and her mother outside a house. Ava's belongings are strewn across the lawn. The front door is closed, new locks clearly visible. Narrator, Liam refused to pick me up from the hospital. He threw all my belongings onto the lawn and changed the locks. I had no choice but to move in with my parents. It felt like my entire life was being dismantled before my eyes. Scene inside Ava's parents' house. Ava is on the phone, looking defeated. Narrator, my sister, bless her for trying, called Liam to ask about Clara's baby stuff. His response was a punch to the gut. He texted me pictures of a completely bare nursery, every single item gone. He said he'd gotten rid of everything. And it wasn't just Clara's things. My art studio, a place where I found so much joy and solace in painting, was utterly destroyed. My art, the pieces I had poured my soul into. He told me they were too awful to sell. I was utterly distraught. All I could do was try to focus on my baby, to shield her from the wreckage of our lives. Weeks pass. Ava is shown caring for Clara, looking sad and distant. Narrator, weeks turned into a month. Liam refused to speak to me directly. Not once did he ask about our child. His silence was deafening, a constant reminder of his shocking abandonment. Scene, a sterile waiting room. Ava looks anxious. Later, she receives a phone call, her eyes widening in disbelief. Narrator, finally, mercifully, he agreed to a paternity test. The results came back. 100% Liam was the father. No one, not even I, could quite believe it. It was done again. A second test, just to be sure. Liam was indeed the dad. A relative of Liam's is shown on a computer, looking at ancestry results. Narrator, around that same time, one of Liam's cousins did an ancestry DNA test. The results revealed something astounding. There was about 30% African ancestry in their family. This, combined with the paternity test, prompted Liam's paternal great-grandmother to confess. She admitted to having had an affair around the time Liam's grandfather was born. Because he could pass, she simply assumed her husband was the father. Narrator, this reveals Liam's greatest fatal flaw, his prejudice, which ultimately sealed his fate. Scene, Ava is on the phone. Her expression is a mix of vindication and weariness. Narrator, since the truth emerged, Liam has been relentlessly reaching out, and everyone who had condemned me came forward with apologies. While it felt undeniably good to be vindicated, the damage was irreversible. The horrible things that were said and done, I couldn't unhear them, couldn't unsee them. Not just the cruel words directed at me, but the truly abhorrent things said about my innocent child. Liam had made some incredibly racist remarks, things I never thought I'd hear him say, and he'd uttered them so easily. Ava looks down at Clara, her expression resolute. Narrator, regardless of what our daughter looks like, I refuse to have her around that kind of hatred. What else would Liam and his family say or do the next time they were angry? How would they treat our precious daughter when she inevitably did something that upset them? Scene, Liam is shown, looking distraught, pleading with Ava. Ava holds Clara, but keeps her away from Liam. Narrator, Liam has been begging for forgiveness. I told him I needed time. He asked to see the baby, and I allowed it, but I found myself terrified to physically hand her to him. He's been trying to repair the nursery, constantly asking me what I'd like. Each time, I just cry, reminding him we already had everything I liked, and some of those items can never be replaced. Narrator, one commenter aptly captured my feelings, saying, "You don't owe it to him to repair the relationship, and if you don't want to after everything he has done, it's perfectly understandable." Scene, Ava and Liam in a strained conversation. Narrator, he asked me if I still loved him. I admitted to him, truthfully, that he had shown me his absolute worst self, and I didn't know if I could ever live with that image etched in my mind. I didn't mean to be hurtful, but it was how I genuinely felt. Scene, Ava talking to her sister. Narrator, my sister suggested couples therapy, but I honestly didn't feel like I should have to work to fix something I didn't break. I had never cheated. I was 100% innocent in this entire nightmare. Was I the jerk for not wanting to give Liam a second chance? Narrator, I stepped away for a few hours after that initial confession, and I couldn't believe the outpouring of support. Some people thought my story was fake, and I understood why, but they were free to believe what they wanted. I realized I needed to clarify a few things. Flashback to February. Ava, pregnant, is moving into her parents' house. Narrator, this whole ordeal began near February. I was already settled at my parents' house before the pandemic even hit. One of the main reasons Liam wouldn't pick me up from the hospital was because I refused to admit to cheating or give him any non-existent details. My honesty only fueled his anger. Flashback to pictures of the nursery. It's bare, but nothing is physically broken. Narrator, based on the pictures Liam sent me, he hadn't taken a sledgehammer to the crib or anything. He'd just taken things down, either to return them for money or to give them away. While it was deeply hurtful, I wouldn't call it violent, though perhaps it was a form of emotional violence. Flashback to social media posts on Liam's profile. Narrator, online, he had publicly announced that I pushed out a dark-skinned baby and that he was going to divorce me. His family initiated the racial comments, and eventually, he joined in, but only through my family. He still refused to speak to me directly. Once the truth came out, all his and his family's posts were taken down, but I, and a few friends, still had the screenshots. Liam never explicitly wrote down his racist remarks. However, he did make comments about our daughter being a welfare princess and how I was going to be just another baby mama. Just to clarify, Liam is white, and I am at least half white. One of my parents is adopted, and after everything that happened, they decided to do an ancestry test too. We were expecting the results any day. Scene, Ava and her parents look at ancestry results on a computer. Surprised expressions. Narrator, many months later, my adopted parents' Ancestry/23andMe results came in. It turned out Liam wasn't the only one with African ancestry. My parent had at least 45%, which meant I had at least 20%. Narrator, I am now legally separated from my husband, with primary custody of Clara, and I'm living with my parents indefinitely. Liam still constantly apologizes and wants me to come back to the house. He even offered to leave so Clara and I could stay there, but I don't want to. I truly cherish the support of my parents. My dad is retired, so he does a lot of the babysitting while my mother and I work remotely. Scene, Ava, Liam, and a therapist on a video call for couples counseling. Narrator, I do go to the house every so often so Liam can see his daughter, and we attend couples counseling via telecom. In one of those sessions, Liam confessed something truly hurtful. Some of you might have guessed it right, he had cheated. It happened while we were dating, before he proposed. His horrific treatment of me was a projection of his own guilt. It was with an ex-girlfriend who had cheated on him, and he hooked up with her for an ego boost. He started to feel guilty but was too scared that I would leave him to ever confess. Narrator, Liam also admitted he was terrified when I got pregnant. Our baby wasn't planned. He was incredibly anxious about being a father but pretended to be excited because he didn't want to look like an awful person. He was so willing to believe our daughter wasn't his because he thought it gave him an out. Now that he knows Clara is his and has spent time with her, he regrets everything and just wants his family back. willing to spend the rest of his life making it up to us. Ava is shown crying quietly. Narrator, all of this was deeply, deeply hurtful, and I've cried about it more times than I can count. Liam has been lying to me, and my ability to trust him hasn't improved at all. Scene, Ava on the phone, looking firm. Narrator, when the holidays came around, Liam's parents asked to see their grandchild, and I simply didn't want them to. They told me it was selfish to keep her away, and I reminded them of their past actions. They claimed they'd already apologized and tried to minimize the situation. They said I couldn't be angry forever and that I needed to learn to forgive them. Narrator, I felt such profound shame for ever loving and marrying into that family. I kept wondering why I hadn't seen it before. Narrator, one top comment perfectly summed it up. NTA. Jim made some awful choices and now he has to pay the price. Narrator, I've made my decision. I've contacted a lawyer and will be filing for divorce after my daughter's first birthday. The core lesson here is that trust, once shattered, is incredibly difficult to rebuild, especially when it's compounded by betrayal and prejudice. What would you do in Ava's situation? Would you have found a way to forgive, or would you have walked away?